Hello, world. Welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. Hello, world, and welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. We're broadcasting live from the Joy Virtual Studio right here in the beautiful Finger Lakes region of New York State. It is so great to be with all of you today. It is Monday, June 30th, and we have a jam-packed week of shows. It is a holiday week, obviously. 4th of July on Friday. And yes, I saw over the weekend that Alex Jones is talking about the bioterror event that supposedly may happen on July 4th. We were talking about that with Dr. David Martin about 3-4 weeks ago. He has been talking about that for quite some time. We're going to keep an eye on that, but the fear porn is ramping up, and it makes you wonder what they have in store for us in order to justify a larger expansion of the military surveillance state here in the US. We are in a pickle, guys, big time. So we have a big lineup of guests this week. I'm going to let you know in just a moment who we're going to be welcoming into the Joy Virtual Studio. But welcome to the week. It's great to see all of you on the live chat. We're live on Rumble, live on Twitter, Spreely TV, Roku TV, Apple TV. We are on Daily Clout every day. Great partnership with Naomi Wolf and the team over there. Ex America News is running the SJ Show live on the Twit, and we're so thankful for our partnership with Patriot TV as well. They run the Shannon Joy Show every day, I think right around 2:30 p.m. So all of our partners, plus every podcast platform you can ever imagine, reaching upwards over 2 million views every single month on this little independent network. It's just amazing. You guys look fantastic. On the live chat, we have the kindest, sweetest, smartest, most intelligent live chat in all of Rumble. And I'm going to be spending a lot of time with you guys today. It is just you and me, mano y mano. I mentioned tomorrow we're going to welcome into the Joy Virtual Studio for the very first time Seth Holhouse. He is Man in America. I'm not sure if you guys follow him on Twitter or follow his channel right here on Rumble, but Seth is great. You know, right now I'm on a mission to introduce this audience to as many independent, outside of the two-party political paradigm voices, reporters, journalists, you name it, people who are not in the left-right cult, who are not operating within that false lens, that false paradigm. I don't know how anyone with a brain, any commentator, any colleague of mine who does this job every day can address any political issues in the United States of America without first understanding and presenting what seems to be an absolute blatant truth, that these two political parties are in it together. There is no discernible difference whatsoever. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today on the Shannon Joy Show. But we've been having a rash of new voices, new faces, new contributors on the SJ Show, as so many of our contributors over the past couple years have gone into the political fray in Washington, D.C. And of course, if they are aligned with a political party, whether it's the left or the right, we're not going to use them here on the show as trusted sources. So we're finding new independent critical sources who are outside of that two-party paradigm. And Seth Holhouse has been on fire. I cannot wait to introduce you to Seth tomorrow on the Shannon Joy Show. Wednesday, working on Dr. David Martin. Last week, he said he could come in this week, and I think Wednesday is going to be the day. If not, we're going to get him next week. But fingers crossed, Dr. David Martin, working on him for Wednesday. And we have Aaron Day booked for Thursday this week on the SJ Show. Another absolutely critical expert, reporter, journalist, educator on the technocracy, transhumanism, and also digital IDs, digital money, Tether, stable coins. A lot of that language is worked into the big, beautiful bill, which is actually a big betrayal bill. So many bad things in that bill relating to artificial intelligence and also digital currencies. And Aaron Day has been, again, on fire on that topic. So we have a great lineup of guests this week, and I have a couple amazing new guests to introduce to you guys next week as well. But you see the headline for today's show. This is what we're going to discuss. I have a bunch of reports here. One of the most important one from the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. We do have organizations who are out there telling the truth. The entirety of right-wing news media, whether it's Fox News, talk radio, or any of the right-wing influencers out there, absolutely asleep at the wheel. They don't even have a pulse. They are so mired in complacency and so numbed by their cult worship of this president, Donald Trump, that they can't see the similarities between Joe Biden's Build Back Better and Donald Trump's Big Beautiful Bill. And you guys can see that's the headline today. The left-right political cult and idolatry are destroying America from within. It is time for us to emancipate, to free our minds from the lie that there are two political parties who actually have different agendas. Their agendas are always the same: bigger government, more power, and the crushing of liberty and our Constitution and our way of life here in the US. They don't care. We are post-constitutional, untethered from our founding documents. And these politicians, left and right, are on a drunken spending spree in Washington, D.C., but it's not just about the spending. There are so many horrifying provisions buried in the BBB, the big betrayal bill, that it's actually, I could actually say this honestly, potentially worse than anything that came out of the Biden administration. And you remember, Biden's BBB was Build Back Better, and it featured trillion-dollar spending bills, debt deficit spending, shameful corporate handouts, an expansion of the global technocratic surveillance state, and a variety of liberty-crushing initiatives. That was Biden's BBB. Trump's BBB is the Big Beautiful Bill, and it too features trillion-dollar spending bills, debt and deficit spending, shameful corporate handouts, expansion of the global technocratic surveillance state, and of course, a variety of liberty-crushing initiatives, including the 10th Amendment, with the AI provisions that ban any states or localities from having any say whatsoever in the expansion of AI technology in the United States of America for 10 years. This provision also hands out trillions of dollars in benefits to private corporations like Palantir, run by Peter Thiel, who, as we know, dumped a ton of money into Donald Trump's election campaign to get him elected, and also installed his own protege, the bought and paid for J.D. Vance, in the office of the vice presidency, right? So that they can experience the largesse of the United States federal government. And it is one contract after another, one handout after another. It's no wonder that predictions were made that Elon Musk would be the world's first trillionaire by, I think it was something like 2030, or maybe even in the next couple of years. So it's just awful. It's awful. There's a pattern here, guys, in case you can't see it. And from my vantage point, it's amazing and disturbing to witness the cultists on both the right and the left literally switching sides every 4 years. Meanwhile, as you all know, the problem, reaction, solution cycle of tyranny in the United States of America that has persisted for the past 30, 40, 50 years continues over the weekend, with Alex Jones now throwing out all the fear porn about the bioterror attack on the United States of America on the 4th of July. Yes, we told you about this. There was an entire bipartisan panel that convened in 2024 to game plan, to strategize, well, what would the U.S. do if there was a bioterror attack on July 4th, 2025? And let me tell you, The lockdowns that they are preparing to respond to a bioterror attack will make COVID-19 lockdowns look like child's play. We are talking full scale boot of the military in every state across the nation. And they declare those emergencies, you lose all of your constitutional rights. That's how dangerous the times that we live in are today, right? But we're not fearful here in the Shannon Joy Show. We're not allowed to be afraid because what do we understand? Right? They are only as powerful as the power that we give to them. There are 360 million Americans. It is very difficult to lock us all down, especially if a principled minority, as few as 10% of the American public, absolutely refuse to do so. And that's what we're going to need moving forward if they try anything. They want us to think that they're all powerful, all seeing, that they can get away with anything. And they are. It's brazen and audacious how horrifying the lies are, how quickly they betray us and stab us in the back on a whole host of issues. They don't even care anymore. It's quite evident that these tyrants in Washington, D.C. do not fear the public. They do not fear we the people in a real way. We need to make them fear us. And that is by emancipating, removing ourselves from this process, getting local. Are you worried about thousands or hundreds of thousands of miles of data centers being plopped in your backyard in your hometown? Well, then get connected, get organized, and get ready to resist from the bottom up. Refuse to comply, build your organizations. It's all hands on deck. And for those Americans who still believe in our Constitution and freedom and common sense and rationality, right? Now is the time for us to stand up because we're going to have to resist again. Strange times that we live in, right? So we have the problem, reaction, solution. Alex Jones predicting the bioterror event about a couple months too late. Are we headed for lockdown 2.0? Probably. They're going to try. They're going to try something. Rinse and repeat. But as always, I will be here outside of the fracas, meeting and greeting with all of you, trying to figure out what the heck is going on and figure out how to survive in the madness, right? Guitar Lily, a tireless minority. That is such a critical point, Guitar Lily. Welcome to the live chat. Appreciate you. We just never give up, guys. Everyone's like, well, there's no point. Well, my guy didn't get into office. Well, we send them to Washington, D.C., and then they betray us. Of course they do. We've taught them to betray us over and over because we keep playing their game, right? You just have to never give up. Maintain those principles. Tether yourself to principles, not politicians, not political parties, not your favorite media announcer or pundit. They're horrible. In fact, I brought a prop today for today's show. I didn't know if I was going to get to it. But yesterday, so I'm show prepping, right? And getting ready to do the show. And yesterday, I just happened to kind of glance at my bookcase. And I have all of these books that I got over the years. See, I'm not unlike so many of you. I had my periods of political idolatry and worshiping a political movement or a party or a talk radio host. This one is Sean Hannity. I have his book. What else do I have here? Glenn Beck. All these books. We have Bill O'Reilly. Who's looking out for you, right? They write these books. Who's looking out for you? Mark Levin, Plunder and Deceit, right? Mark Levin today is defending the Republicans and the president of the United States, whom he worships, right? As they are deceiving us and engaging in like the most breathtaking kind of plunder I've ever witnessed in my life. But see, they write these books. They're frauds, or maybe not necessarily frauds. I'm sure they're all very nice people, but they just sold out. I don't know why they do this. I don't know why it's so hard to go to Washington, D.C., do what you say you're going to do. I don't know what the allure is. Is it money? Is it power? I'm sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. Is it money? Is it power? I don't know. Oh, this one's good. A Time for Truth by Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, who is championing, all right? This is the guy, Ted Cruz, who is spearheading. When you realize how bad this AI provision absolutely smashing the 10th Amendment of our Constitution, you just have to wonder how Ted Cruz can even sleep at night, how he can kiss his kids goodbye at night, how he could look in the mirror. I mean, he wrote the book on the Constitution, and he was all about truth. Unbelievable. What else do I? I'm getting rid of all these books, by the way. I'm just tossing them. Oh, Hillbilly Elegy. This was not a good book. J.D. Vance. I found J.D. Vance to be very unlikable in Hillbilly Elegy. He seemed very, what I want to say, insecure. I didn't think it was a great book. People seem to love it, but I didn't. What else do I have in here? It just reminds me, Glenn Beck, the Eye of Moloch, right? Everything is so evil and all the evils out there. Meanwhile, we have transgenderism, transhumanism. By the way, transgender surgeries and gender affirming treatments for minors has been put back in the big, beautiful bill, erasing the executive order that President so ceremoniously signed, however many months ago, with all of those little girls surrounding him in the Oval Office to accolades and cheer. Well, it's all gone. It's been put back into the big, beautiful bill, and Trump's going to sign it, right? So, when when the apparatus of Congress erases the majority of the executive orders that Donald Trump got so much great press from all of these losers, okay, Ted Cruz, Glenn Beck, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, when they put it all back in the big, beautiful bill and then he signs it, that means that he is tacitly endorsing it. It's not some trickery that came down from Congress, right? Oh, poor Trump. He didn't know it was in the bill. He didn't know they slipped it in at the last minute, right? Poor baby Trump didn't know. His advisors got him again. Like, when is the guy ever going to have to take responsibility for the bills that he signs? We were saying this way back in 2016, 17, 18, and 19 in his first administration, when he signed the bills that were endorsed and promoted by Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. It's just insane. They probably wrote them. What else do I have here? More Glenn Beck. I was a Glenn Beck fan for a long time. Dreamers and Deceivers. Okay, that one. Speaking of deceivers, right? Why won't Glenn Beck talk about mRNA technology? Why won't Glenn Beck talk about vaccines and vaccine injury? Right? Why do they always omit the most important things? And then another one, Addicted to Outrage by Glenn Beck. So yeah, these are all going in the trash. I put them in my bag. I'm like, maybe I'll use them for a prop today on the show. I mean, it just goes to remind you, and remind me, they aren't going to come save us. And political idolatry, idolizing pundits and commentators, even myself. Guys, if I ever start acting like these guys, I want you guys to dump me so fast my head will spin, because I don't even want to do this if I don't know. I don't know what happens. You guys can tell me. Bilbo Flappers, I see you there. You're brand new on the live chat. I mean, why do they sell out? I mean, it's probably a variety of different reasons, money, power, proximity to power. Maybe a lot of them are dumber than we thought they were, and they really just read scripts. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they're blackmailed. Maybe they're coerced. I mean, I'm sure everyone has, the timeline of history from when they go in bright-eyed and bushy-tailed into Washington, D.C., right? I'm going to change the world and we're going to hold them accountable and all the things. And then it's I mean, let's be honest though. The amount of time that it took for them to go from bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and principled and truth tellers to, just complete scoundrels. Back in the day, it was years. Some of them were in, 5-10 years before you really saw them pull the mask off. These days, it's breathtaking how fast they betray you. I mean, the Bobby Kennedy Jr. betrayal is I have whiplash. It is the fastest, most blatant betrayal I have ever seen. Bob Malone is, he's going after everyone. He went after me. He's gone after Naomi Wolf. He called our group, that's me, Mary Talley Bowden, and Sasha Latapova, because of the letter that we wrote. It was, holding Bobby Kennedy Jr. accountable for the promises he made during his campaign season. Bob Malone called us a hate group after that. And now I think that he was going after Toby Rogers, of all people, who is amazing. Oh, and also Dr. Peter McCullough had a nasty, nasty tweet about Dr. Peter McCullough. So Malone is ripping the mask off in a breathtaking fashion. And as you guys know, I mean, I'm the girl, I'm the queen of the long rope. Like, I will get so that no one can ever say to me, oh, Shannon, you just hate so and so. Oh, Shannon, you just don't like Trump. You just hate Trump. You have Trump derangement syndrome, right? Or you didn't give them enough time. You have to trust the plan. It's 12-dimensional chess. Just wait, Shannon. Give it time. Give it time. I hear this all the time. And because I hear this all the time, and I have heard this for over the past 12 years, I give people a long rope. Like, I will give them the benefit of the doubt for years until I see the discernible policy outcome. And that's what I did with Bobby Kennedy Jr. That's what I did with Bob Malone as well, because there are a lot of people who said to me at the time, and you guys know who you are. You warned me. You said, Malone, he is like deep into the Department of Defense and DARPA and all of the things. And I saw that he was, but I was also like, you got to give people a chance to become a whistleblower. I mean, the definition of a whistleblower is like you're deep in the belly of the beast, and then you can't do it anymore for some reason. You come out and you blow the whistle. So, like, there's got to be some grace given to people who are once inside, had an epiphany for whatever reason, and now are on the outside, which was the accommodation that I gave to both Bobby Kennedy Jr. and Bob Malone. But they have, I mean, it is not even, it is blatant. I mean, the number of mRNA technologies coming out. By the way, Bob Malone, Martin Kulldorff, and Retzif, I'm trying to remember the last name, but these appointees to ACIP, remember all of the Bobby Kennedy Jr. like cleaned house over at ACIP and fired 17 people, and there was weeping and gnashing of teeth, and everything was just so terrible, right? And then, he comes in like a hero and appoints Bob Malone and Martin Kulldorff to ACIP, and now that's going to change everything. Last week, they voted to recommend, I believe, the RSV vaccine, which I'm pretty sure is an mRNA, but don't quote me on that. I don't have anything in front of me. They voted to recommend that, or approved the recommendation for children, the RSV shot. And that happened last week. Oh my gosh, the wearables, the biosurveillance, the promises to dump millions, if not billions, if not trillions of dollars into biosurveillance. That is the federal government monitoring our bodies 24/7 and feeding that into these massive databases that they plan to build in the big, beautiful bill, which is a big betrayal bill. It's all just so terrible. And so this is the insanity that we live in here in the United States of America circa 2025. You do get the sense that we're like ramping up to something. I mean, I have some reports here too on the debt and the deficit. Ed Dowd was just on with Greg Hunter in a report basically saying, I mean, the cat is out of the bag. I mean, this economy is nowhere near as good as they are telling you from conservative media outlets. It's on its last legs. And this is why so many institutional investors, countries, and international banks are moving into metals, gold and silver. And so, very good conversation between Ed Dowd and Greg Hunter. I linked it on last week's show notes. Actually, it's still linked today on the show notes. And yes, this is why, guys, I have been telling you, I've been telling you for so long, like, get a metals strategy. This is actually a good segue for Colonial Metals Group. Nothing is changing. This BBB bill is, I mean, what is it? $5 trillion added. 4 trillion. This is the headline from Committee for the Responsible Federal Budget. The Senate reconciliation bill could add over 4 trillion to the United States debt. That's insane. So yeah, if you add that, that's 500 billion to 1.5 trillion more in borrowing than under the House passed bill. That's where they come up with a $5 trillion number. Okay. This thing is going to pass. and Donald Trump is going to sign it. Now, there is pushback. Tom Massey doing a great job, even though we don't idolize political heroes. Tom Massey is really the only guy standing up and speaking out against this bill in a meaningful way for the right reasons within the correct context. I'm working on getting Tom Massey on the Shannon Joy Show. I've been reaching out for months to his people and to Tom Massey himself. If anyone has a line on Tom Massey, I would really like to get him in to talk about this and help him promote his work. But we're going to get into this bill. The point being that nothing is changing. Nothing is changing. We are looking at a Trump administration, Republican control, taking the entirety of the Biden administration, okay, pretending to get rid of it during Doge and the flurry of executive orders, right? But then putting it all back in, first in the House bill and now in the Senate reconciliation bill. And it only gets worse from here. In addition to the economy destroying, middle class fleecing, profligate spending, disgusting budget that has to do with the fiscal house, right? There are also liberty crushing provisions in this bill that we're going to have to address after it passes. We're going to have to wage a massive resistance, especially against these AI data centers and the expansion of AI into all of the areas of governance in Washington, D.C. It's bad, bad, bad. And so the point is that they're no different. Anyone who is seriously engaged in political analysis, who is not acknowledging identical bills when it comes to spending, when you look at the words on the page, the line items, the handouts, whether they're always different corporations that get the handouts, but they're still there, right? It is absolutely breathtaking. And again, conservative media, that's why I have my bag full of conservative media books that I'm getting rid of. I'm just going to throw them in the trash. I mean, these people that we trust. And I did. Oh my gosh. I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh. And then I really liked Glenn Beck. And then Mark Levin was great with all of the references to the Constitution. And they said all the things that I believed in, right? And they always pointed to the Democrats as the evildoers. And they are, right? I mean, Ted Cruz was really the last one. That's why I have his poster up here in the studio. But I'm taking that down. We're going to replace that with an original Sasha Latypova, Daniel in the Lion's Den, which I've showed you guys before. And so Ted Cruz is coming down. We're gonna mount the Sasha and continue with. I should Truth or Rick. I should hold a book burning ceremony. I mean, I'm not really for book burning, but these people. I mean, the things that they say versus what they are ignoring and looking away from today, the things they are promoting with this president, this big, beautiful bill is a big betrayal. And, just the most recent. It's crazy. But anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, Colonial Metals Group. Get your gold and silver strategy put together today. This is, again, nothing is changing. So what does that mean? It means that we are still in a situation here in the U.S. With the economy. It's like a train barreling down the track, set on fire, 90 miles an hour with a drunken conductor heading right off a cliff. Like that's kind of where we are with this economy. And so, especially with the US dollar, our currency, they have taken this as far as they possibly can. Everyone understands this. And this is why gold is now tier 1 status. That's what Ed Dowd was talking about. Gold is money good, meaning you could buy a house with gold. We could see a situation, especially with Texas and Florida now adopting gold and silver as legal tender. That is the first step to their ability to establish a sovereign bank. If the states begin, which is perfectly constitutional, if the states begin to establish sovereign banks and they accept gold and silver as legal currency, then that is the beginning of states being able to fund the mechanisms of government in their own states without the federal government, right? We get to give the big middle finger to the federal government as the states begin to seize back fiscal and monetary authority and fund schools and bridges and roads and the necessary elements of governance, the type of government that we all kind of envision as Americans, right? Like the roads, the utilities, education, maybe a little bit of healthcare or welfare for like the poorest of the poor. Like basic rational governance, not the absolute shit show that we see in Washington D.C. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that gold and silver they could skyrocket, they could go sky high if that becomes like the dominant reserve for the 21st century. You could see a huge acceleration in the value. And it's also just a great way to hedge against chaos. If you have saved your entire life, you're a retiree, and your money is wrapped up in a 401k, IRA, and it's the stock market or even federal government instruments, you have to consider physical gold and silver as a hedge. Doesn't mean you have to go in and go all in on it. It could be a portion, it could be a quarter, less than that, but everyone needs to be hedging right now with physical gold and silver, and also physical gold and silver backing up your retirement. As you guys know, Colonial Metals Group this company is amazing. I trust this company. I know all the primaries. We've been working with them for years, and they take amazing care of this audience. So you're going to want to go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy, colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. See if you qualify for $7,500 in free silver. This is an amazing company. They are not going to give you a pressure sell. They're not going to manipulate. They don't do fear selling in any capacity. They just give you all the information that you need and let you make the decision that is right for you and your family. So colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. It is also linked in the show notes, and Annie will pop that up right in the live chat. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to go right to all of you. I see you on the live chat. I kind of laid out my agenda. I have some articles here that we can go through. I can tell you a little bit more about the big, beautiful bill and the terrible land provision where they were prepared to sell off, millions of acres of pristine U.S. land to the lowest bidders, their billionaire cronies. I think we might have thwarted that. That was stripped, I believe, yesterday, but I need to confirm that. We can also talk about the AI provision, which is being championed by Ted Cruz, among others, and is firmly ensconced within this bill. It would be great if we could strip that out. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. And then also this piece, the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. It's just disgusting. It's disgusting what they're doing. And I can't believe, there are actually conservative commentators out there who are with a straight face telling their audiences that this bill is not going to increase the debt and deficits. The ease with which they lie is breathtaking. I know I've said that word like 17 times. It's the word of the day, I suppose. But I can't, you can't believe what you're witnessing. The blatant lies. It's just insane. So we're going to take a quick break. Annie, thank you for producing the show today. As always, we love Inez Annie Cyrus. She is the producer of the Shannon Joy Show. She's going to take us to break. When we come back, we're going to hit the live chat, and I'm going to spend the rest of this show with all of you. So get your questions ready, your comments ready, pop them up in all caps in the live chat. If you made a comment or had a question at the beginning of the show and I didn't get to it, post it again so that I can see it, because there's a lot going on this chat. By the way, welcome to all of the YouTube viewers here on the Shannon Joy Show. We just relaunched the SJ Show YouTube strategy. Last week, we had 4 live viewers on YouTube, which I know doesn't sound great, but we didn't get censored. I think I said vaccine 17 times, and it didn't get pulled down. I didn't get slapped with a notice of wrong speech, and they didn't take it down. So this is a huge development. We are now able to platform on YouTube. So we're going to enjoy that for as long as we can, censorship free. And we are going to, oh yeah, nice, CJP Rumble. I have YouTube pulled up. Nice, I love it. So I'm super psyched. If you are watching on YouTube right now, Welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. We had a nice chat going on YouTube in last week. And Annie, if you want to keep an eye on the live chat on YouTube, let me know if we have any comments and we can say hi to them. Thank you to the audience on Twitter. Great to see all of you, and on Facebook as well. Let's go to break. When we come back, it's a free for all. We're going to answer your questions, comments, and get into a little bit of these news items. Keep it tuned right here on the Shannon Joy Show. Huge thank you to our friends over at Native Path. Guys, get your collagen 45% off right now. It is great for your hair, your nails, your bones. It not only helps you to look great, but it helps you to feel great as well. This has been my experience with, as you guys know, devastatingly handsome Dr. Joy. He's very stubborn. He doesn't listen to me. I try, getting him on the vitamin D and the vitamin C and the regular protocols and all the things that are good for him. He's had the worst joint pain. He's super active, plays a lot of beach volleyball with the kids. He walks every day, is very fit. He eats great, has great discipline, but he was having joint pain, like a tennis elbow. His knees were hurting. And, about a month ago or 2 months ago, he was like, I think I'm just old. I think this is just the way that I'm supposed to feel now every day, where everything hurts. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just please start taking the collagen, you stubborn thing. And I finally convinced him to do it. And he will tell you that his joint pain is almost gone. Like, he feels so much better on the daily collagen. He has been on it for about 2 weeks. He gets upset if we run low, and he's like, oh my gosh, we got to get more collagen from Native Path. And it's just one of those things. As you get older, I feel like just needs to be worked into your life every single day. And as you guys know, I take my collagen every morning in my coffee. The Native Path collagen is clean. It dissolves perfectly and instantly. It has no flavor whatsoever. So you don't even know that it is in your coffee. My husband actually dumps in a Native Path hydrate and then the collagen in cold water every morning. I don't know how he does that, but anyway, he does. Very easy to take, and the price point is better than any product on the market when you use the Joy URL. So it's getnativepathcollagen.com/joy, getnativepathcollagen.com/joy. I'll pop it into the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. And right now, 45% off. 45% off. It's an amazing deal. They have 6-jar bundles, 3-jar bundles, but you can really stock up for a year with the 45% off deal. It's amazing just for the Joy audience, and they give that only to this audience. So thank you to Native Path. As it becomes more and more evident to more and more Americans that these two political parties are on the same side. It is indeed a uniparty system, a unibrow system, and that has never been more evident than in the big, beautiful bill, the big betrayal bill, as I call it, the BBB pushed out now by Donald Trump and the turncoats in the Republican Party, also witnessing the complete about face of Bobby Kennedy Jr. in his role at HHS, which we've been documenting here on the Shannon Joy Show. The betrayals are, quite frankly, breathtaking. And yes, everyone's talking about the Bobby Kennedy Jr. interview with Tucker Carlson. I watched a good portion of that. And as you can see from the headline of today's show, I do believe it was a softball limited hangout for a variety of reasons. In my opinion, the interview was a lot of red meat for the right and anti-vaxxers, but really no new information. We're going to discuss that in the opening monologue here of the Shannon Joy Show today. But later in the program, we're going to introduce you to a new guest. As I mentioned, Seth Holhouse. He is Man in America. You can find him on Twitter. He has a huge following here on Rumble, upwards, I think, over 170,000 followers here on Rumble, and is putting out a lot of really great content. And what I've loved about Seth Holhouse as of late, he really is moving into that independent space. Not right, not left, not supporting candidates or politicians or political parties, but really just dialing in on the truth. He's had a lot of great shows recently, and I loved what he had to say about RFK last week and the wearables and big tech and the technocracy. He's kind of moving into our lane, and I really want to introduce him to you today. So he will be joining us at the bottom of the hour. We will introduce him to you. I'm going to ask him about all of the things. What do you think about Trump's report card 6 months in? The big, beautiful betrayal bill, the attack on Tom Massey, one of the only independent Republicans in Washington, D.C. But then again, the strange alliance now, Tom Massey, with a post this morning aligning with none other than Elon Musk. None of this makes any sense. We're going to get to all of it today, but I do want to address that Tucker Carlson interview right after I say hello to all of you and also thank our sponsors. Today, we are so thankful to be sponsored by our friends over at Colonial Metals Group. As you know, Ed Dowd last week, Greg Hunter, money or gold is money good was the statement from Ed Dowd. His analysis of the market, the fundamentals have not changed. The debt and deficit spending still continues. And he is now raising the alarm about a major, major financial issue in the fall of 2025. The chickens are going to come home to roost. And he is now moving into that recommendation of gold as a safe haven. It is a tier 1 asset now, as determined by BIS, and it is now becoming the de facto currency, and not digital gold, not Bitcoin, none of the tether or stable coins, none of that. It is the real stuff, the physical gold and silver. And this is biblical. It's been around for 4,000 years of human history. It has always been the standard of wealth. And this is why so many Americans are moving into it. The only company that I trust for my gold and silver strategy is Colonial Metals Group. They can assist you with the purchase of physical gold and silver for your safety deposit box or a safe in your home. They can also help you move a portion of your retirement into a gold-backed IRA that you direct. They can also help people allocate a certain amount of money and contribute to a gold-backed IRA. So if you want to set up something new, they can do that as well. And that's something that I am doing with them right now. I'm so excited about that. I'm going to be telling you guys more about it. The company is colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. Go to their URL right now. See if you qualify for up to $7,500 in free silver if you qualify. But this is the company I trust. I've been using them for years, and they're going to meet you where you are and help you get that strategy in place. Get it going, guys, because things are going to get bumpy. So thank you to our friends over at colonialmetalsgroup.com. Let's go to the live chat, say hello to all of you. Of course, we have a lively, amazing, intellectual, helpful live chat today. We have CM1968 who has joined us today. CJP Rumble was the very first to join the live chat. CJP, great to see you. Buskman is with us today. Big fan of Seth Wholehouse. So that's pretty cool. I'm super glad. Listen, I would like to be the clearinghouse for some of the best journalists, opinion makers, people who are not mired in the politics, but are committed to the truth and tethered to principles. These are the voices that I'm looking for here in the Shannon Joy Show. We might not agree on everything. There might be some voices I present to you that came from the traditional left. There might be some voices who came from the traditional right. There might be people out there who endorsed Donald Trump for the presidency or endorsed Biden for the presidency at some point. Right? Everyone, I love to give a lot of room for everyone to wake up. And when they're in this lane of truth telling and absolute independence, that's when I want to present them to you guys, because it's always constantly changing, right? So yes. Oh, D. Kelly girl, great to see you. Oh, good afternoon. In the hospital now, waiting on a beautiful baby grandboy to arrive. No shots on this one. D. Kelly girl, congratulations. That is so amazing and so beautiful. And yeah, that's what matters, right? Our family, our babies, living life and in relative freedom, right? That's what we have come to expect here in the United States of America. It is our birthright. These are God-given natural rights to be in control of our own bodies and decide what happens to our bodies and the bodies of our children. And that is why the vaccine issue, I've said this to my audience for about 10 years. I think that the vaccine issue is the defining issue of the 21st century. It is the defining issue of our lives. It will determine whether or not we are free human beings or we are slaves. And I assert to you, if they have the ability and they have the power to lock us down and inject poison into our bodies or the bodies of our children without our consent, through coercion, manipulation, deceit, or force, then we are not free people. And that is why the vaccine issue is the issue. It was a determining issue in the election of President Donald Trump, which only happened because of the medical freedom movement through the alliance with Bobby Kennedy Jr., right? And so now to be sitting here 6 months out in this presidency and see that nothing has happened with mRNA, nothing has happened with pushing back on full-scale immunity for pharmaceutical companies. Nothing has happened in terms of mandates. There are still mandates for children to be vaccinated as a condition of entering preschool or school, with no religious exemptions, no philosophical exemptions, and no medical exemptions. In almost, I would say 8 or 9 states across the country, they're still in place, right? And there's been no movement there. There have been peripheral wins, limited hangouts like what we saw with Bobby Kennedy Jr. and Tucker Carlson yesterday in that interview, which, he said a lot of great things. He said a lot of things that I agree with, right? But it sounded like, that interview with Tucker Carlson sounded like the same interview I've seen Bobby Kennedy Jr. do for the past 10 years. Right? That guy was the guy who was in the disinformation dozen and completely censored, and the crazy anti-vaxxer that everyone mocked and ridiculed, right? The Bobby Kennedy Jr. on the periphery, not the Bobby Kennedy Jr. that is HHS secretary, the guy who is the man, the guy who's carrying a big stick, right? Every time Tucker asked a question about what could be done on things like mRNA and vaccine injury and acknowledging the vaccine injured or the vaccine dead, it was kind of like, oh, well, the 1996, oh, well, it's complicated. Oh, well, we're working on that. There is so much that Bobby Kennedy Jr. can be doing from his position as HHS secretary that he isn't doing. And sadly, while he did use the bully pulpit yesterday with Tucker Carlson, I think it's the first time I heard Bobby Kennedy Jr. acknowledge COVID vaccine injured and dead in a very limited way, right? So I'm glad he's finally getting out there and speaking about some of these topics and talking about pharmaceutical liability protection and talking about the revolving door. But it's like every single time he steps right up to the very edge, but never goes over. And also, spilled out a little bit of disinformation as well. Some lies in there as well. When Tucker Carlson asked him, are you still recommending COVID-19 shots for pregnant women? And he said no in that interview. Well, that wasn't true. They are recommending COVID-19 shots for pregnant women because pregnant women exist in the category that the CDC defines as high risk. And so they've made it very clear that that COVID-19 mRNA shot recommendation is still in place for women who are at high risk. Pregnancy would be one of those categories, and also children who are high risk. That would be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of children across the US would be quote unquote high risk. They could have autoimmune disorders, or they could have allergies or asthma or all sorts of conditions that are very common among babies and children that would place them at high risk. Those recommendations are still in place. So they're still doing the dance. So I'm not satisfied with this interview that I saw between Tucker Carlson and Bobby Kennedy. And I know there are great sound bites out there. I know they're pushing out the red meat, the anti-vaxxer red meat. And a lot of the things that he's saying were true, right? But that is the definition of the con, right? In order to achieve the con, you have to gain the confidence. That's where the word con man comes from. He's a confidence man. I'm not saying that Kennedy is a con man yet, but he is gaining your confidence. And the only way to do that is through telling mostly truths and then dropping in the big lie. And so this interview, I saw a good amount of it. It actually deserves a much more nuanced discussion. And that's what I might have with Sasha Latipova, because I'm very concerned about this interview, very concerned about the direction that Bobby Kennedy is taking our people. Death by a million cuts to this movement as we sit and wait for the hero to come and save us. We've got to accept this, in my opinion, with clear eyes and move forward from the bottom up in order to resist a lot of this stuff. So thank you so much. very, very happy. And what do we want to do? We want to protect the babies, right? We want to end the deception, the manipulation, the coercion, right? Every young mom going into the hospital and being told that she needs to get all these vaccines for her babies, never given true informed consent. Oh gosh, there's so many things about this interview that I could go into, and we're going to try to go into as many of them as we can before we bring Seth on. But I have a few questions that I would have asked if I were to interview Secretary Robert Kennedy. And let me tell you, we've been reaching out to Bobby Kennedy Jr. for 2.5 years here on the Shannon Joy Show. They have never granted us an interview. Similarly, we have been reaching out to Congressman Thomas Massie here on the Shannon Joy Show for almost a year. We have not been granted an interview. I wonder about those things, right? You would think I'd be a friendly place for someone like Tom Massie to come in, or at least last year, a very friendly venue for someone like Robert Kennedy Jr., and they won't come on the show. Maybe it's because I'll ask the hard questions. Maybe that's why I can't get an interview with any politician. The only politician with cojones enough to come onto the Shannon Joy Show has been Governor Ron DeSantis, right? With no conditions. He's been on the show twice. They've never told me you can't ask this question or you can't ask that question. He's just come in live on the show, done the interview, and I've asked my questions, right? What is up with that? I don't know. Guitar Lily is with us today. Big thank you to Annie Cyrus for producing the show. Chronozone 777 is with us. Kennedy revealed that the CDC buried a 1999 internal study led by a researcher which showed an alarming 1,135% increase from the hepatitis B vaccine. Okay, Chronozone, this is a perfect segue to one of my biggest criticisms about the Bobby Kennedy Jr. interview with Tucker Carlson, right? Like, he always goes back in time. He always goes back into the history. Well, the 1996 law that gave pharmaceutical corporations complete immunity from anyone or liability protection, right? Well, what are you doing about it today, right? Kennedy revealed that the CDC, big bad CDC, buried this internal study. Okay, so you have a 1,135% increase in injury, I suppose, from the hepatitis B vaccine. Well, what are you doing about it today, Bobby? Why is it that babies are still being injected with the hepatitis B vaccine, right? If you have studies, why don't you pull the vaccines or remove the recommendations or at least pause the entire thing until your agency through the NIH can go in and conduct the necessary studies to determine that the COVID mRNA vaccine, whatever version of it, or hepatitis B or MMR or any of the vaccines in the childhood schedule are safe and effective for children to use? Why is it that your agency is still recommending these? Why is it that your agency isn't demanding that hospitals, pediatricians, and medical doctors provide full informed consent for every person that comes into their office for a vaccine, showing them the vaccine package insert, showing them the full list of potential side effects and adverse events that could come from the vaccine, right? Showing them where they can report their injury for VAERS. Like, these are all things that medical doctors should be doing every single time they administer a vaccine to any baby or any child or any adult, whether it's the flu vaccine or RSV. That's not what we're seeing. We're seeing all of these mRNA jabs in the hopper for FDA approval. In 2025, we see a fast tracking of the saMRNA. We see an FDA approval. This is under HHS of an RSV vaccine, which is an mRNA technology. We see the HHS recommending vaccines, the COVID-19 mRNA vaccines, to the population at large, with only that slight cutout of healthy babies and children and pregnant women. These are all the nuanced angles that Tucker Carlson completely missed, right? You are carrying the big stick, Bobby. You have the stick. You have the power. You are the man. You have the bully pulpit. There are so many things that you could do. And my questions would be revolving around, why haven't you done them? And here are just a few of the questions I would ask him. Why haven't you reversed the former HHS secretary's COVID-19 public health emergency, which gives the agency and the government vast powers and is making it very difficult for us to sue any hospital or any institution for some of the horrifying deaths that resulted from COVID-19 protocols, including vaccination and treatment protocols. Why haven't you used the bully pulpit to bring awareness and aid to the vaccine injured and dead? Why isn't the NIH running studies right now? Why aren't you fast tracking the studies to determine whether or not these vaccines are killing people? Why aren't you out there every single day gathering information from the vaccine injured, from those who can't even pay for their treatments? Why aren't you raising awareness from your bully pulpit? And yes, thank you for like the one side of your mouth mention on Tucker Carlson, which looked like it was a damage control interview in order to, distract people away from what you've done over the past couple weeks, because he's been getting a lot of criticism. Like, why aren't you doing that every single day? Why don't you set up a committee, a blue ribbon committee? Send some of your agents out into the United States of America to document and hear the stories and bring awareness to those who have been injured or killed from the COVID-19 vaccine that you're recommending. Why haven't you used the bully pulpit to publicly advocate that pharma liability shields be abolished? Why haven't you used your position at HHS as HHS secretary to maybe withhold grant funding through the NIH and other agencies from states and organizations that enforce severe vaccine mandates for babies and children as a condition of entering preschool or elementary school or secondary school or college? Why haven't you pulled the mRNA shots off the market while you study them for safety? Why did you fast track the essay self-amplifying mRNA shots? Why is your agency still recommending COVID shots for immune compromised babies and pregnant mothers? Why hasn't your agency, Bobby, advised health practitioners to post ingredients lists, package inserts, and potential adverse reactions for all vaccines to achieve true informed consent? That would probably knock off half the vaccines in the country if people actually knew, if they actually had the ability to do a cost benefit analysis on every vaccine. But that's not happening. The CDC is still to the tune of billions of dollars promoting vaccines. It's not advertising. It's just the weight of the federal government and the power of that agency perpetuating the promotion of these vaccines relentlessly. You don't have to do that, Bobby. Why are you still doing it? Is the question. Why haven't you directed the National Institute for Health Director Jay Bhattacharya to launch a massive nationwide study on vaccine-related injuries and deaths? These are just 9 questions that need to be asked of Bobby Kennedy Jr. Is it any surprise that he has not appeared on the Shannon Joy Show? Because those are the questions that I would ask him. And they just touch the surface of what needs to be asked. Again, this is why, in my opinion, the Tucker Carlson, Bobby Kennedy Jr. interview, while entertaining and while it contained a lot of great sound bites and a lot of truths, right? It omitted all of the most important elements, the things that will truly bring change, right? He talked about out in the future. Well, we're looking into that. And he actually, rather than attacking pharmaceutical liability protection, he's like, oh, well, they already have that. Unfortunately, Congress already gave them liability protection. So we're working here at Health and Human Services to reform VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, and the payout, the secret panel of judges, the secret courts that pay out vaccine injured families. We're going to reform that, right? That's not addressing the problem. If vaccine makers faced liability, everything would change. If mandates ended, everything would change. Yet they're not going there. So that's why I'm a little bit dissatisfied, so to speak. And Tucker Carlson, he has some good interviews. I get it. But this is the problem with left-right media. This is the problem with the limited hangout. All of these elevated platforms that never ask the questions that need to and allow these. Kennedy Jr. is a politician now. and bureaucrats to get away with not answering these questions. They ran on a platform to bring truth and true reform, and I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Nostradamus. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is on the payroll. Something happened. Something happened. Because again, he is interviewing like the guy that didn't have any power. Well, now he's the guy with the power. And let's see him use it. All right. So let's go to a commercial break. It looks like Seth Holhouse has joined us. He's in the bullpen here on the Shannon Joy Show. I'm going to ask him about this, the interview, report card 6 months in on Bobby Kennedy Jr., what's going down at HHS, the technocracy, the big, beautiful betrayal bill from my perspective, and the issues of import that he thinks are really facing this country. So I'm really excited to introduce Seth to all of you. He is Man in America. We're going to go to a quick break. We'll be back to continue this discussion right here on the Shannon Joy Show. As you guys know, I love the folks over at Colonial Metals Group. Listen, if you can buy a house with gold and silver, which you are almost able to do in the great state of Florida, given what Governor Ron DeSantis has been doing, not only with making gold and silver legal tender, but also beginning the process of establishing a state sovereign bank. Man, if you can buy a house with gold and silver, why wouldn't you back your retirement, or at least a portion of your retirement, with gold and silver? You guys know chaos is the name of the game. In fact, ever since the day that President Trump stepped into office, it's been pure chaos. Whether it's erratic tariffs, actually taxes levied on the American people, insider trading that we're seeing blatantly from this administration and friends of this administration, massive bloated budgets that look exactly like Biden era budgets and Obama era budgets, debt and deficit, the continuation of the printing of money and the devaluation of the dollar, inflation as far as the eye can see, and now chaos in our streets, right? It is all chaos. There is one hedge against chaos when it comes to your finances, and that is gold and silver. It's a metals strategy, whether it's gold and silver in your safe or in a safety deposit box, or backing up your retirement with an individual self-directed IRA backed by gold. This is what so many Americans are very quickly realizing is the hedge to chaos. They can do anything they want, but they can't come after your gold and they can't touch your gold. And this is why it is so important to call Colonial Metals Group right now. Okay. colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. Do not wait. I know there are so many of you out there. You have heard me talk about Colonial Metals Group, the amazing staff, how awesome they are for many, many years, and you have held off. Today is the day. Do not wait. I think that there's still a lot of room actually for the value of gold and silver to grow, and there's a lot from our friend Jesse Colombo and Peter Schiff on the fact that they're still very bullish on these metals. So it's not too late, but you need to get that strategy in place right now. colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy, colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. They're giving away $7,500 in free silver to the Joy audience for those of you who qualify. This is a limited time deal, but you have to go to my page, colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy, to learn about that offer. We are going to welcome into the Joy virtual studio for the first time, a little bit later on the Shannon Joy Show, an amazing woman. Her name is Laura Bartlett, and she has set up the Hospital Hostage Hotline. If any of you have worried about losing your rights the second you or a loved one enters the medical industrial complex or a large hospital system, you've seen the horror stories across the country of medical kidnappings of children and people being, locked down on COVID floors. There is a big problem within our system today. People don't trust our institutions. They don't trust the medical industrial complex. And tragically, many Americans don't trust their own doctors. Well, there is a way for you to gain peace of mind, and that is understanding your rights when you enter the medical industrial complex or the hospital system. So Laura, she's an amazing woman. She set up this hotline. She has helped so many families across the United States of America extract their loved ones from toxic hospital situations. But that's not it. She's also created a complete template, a way for you to understand your rights and prepare in case you ever enter the hospital with an almost, completely bulletproof document that you can customize for yourself and your family that lets the hospital know and puts them on notice that you are going to get the care that you decide you want to have. And they are in no way, shape, or form allowed to give you any medications, any procedures, any vaccines, any medical interventions against your will. This preparation is what we talk about all the time on the Shannon Joy Show. We know that we cannot wait for political heroes to sweep in or swoop in and save us. We know that the second we give them power and they go to Washington, D.C., they betray us. And we are beginning to understand here in the U.S. that the answers are going to come from we the people, the bottom up. Those of us organizing and activating at the local and state level, and also being super prepared. Being prepared with enough food to last if there's a natural disaster, or energy solutions if there is some event. Prepared enough to, protect your finances with physical gold and silver, and also prepared enough to, understand if you were to go into the hospital that you can have some peace of mind. This is a totally free program that she gives away. It's amazing. And I cannot wait to talk to Laura Bartlett today a little bit later in the program. So we have a big show for you today. You see the headline: the Elon Musk America Party PSYOP has been deployed. The mission is, in my opinion, a fake independent movement, false hope, and diffused outrage. We're going to talk about all of the betrayals. If you are mad about Donald Trump or Bobby Kennedy Jr. betraying so many of their promises in such a breathtaking fashion, it is not, you are not alone. This is a sentiment that we're seeing sweep across the nation. And it's one of the reasons that I believe that this new PSYOP has been deployed. It's not real, but we're going to get into it. As you guys know, Elon Musk is, in my opinion, one of the worst political actors on the scene today. He poses as a protector of free speech, yet his own platform engages in continued censorship. As we know, Linda Yaccarino, on the twit, you have freedom of speech, but not of reach. That in and of itself is censorship. And thousands of Twitter users, including myself, are censored on a regular basis. So even, the hallmark, what he hangs his hat on as the protector of freedom in the US, is a lie. But there are a lot of other things about Elon Musk that people should be concerned about. Now, this America Party, it was all over Twitter yesterday. It is now the dividing line, as we are seeing MAGA and MAHA break apart, not because of outside organizations or independent broadcasters like myself who are calling them out every day on their betrayals. No, they're breaking apart because they are betraying their promises. They're also gaslighting the American people and going back on all of the campaign promises that they made just a short 6 or 7 months ago. So this is why you're seeing both of these movements, which I also think are psyops. So if you watch the Shannon Joy Show, I don't think that MAGA was a real movement. I don't think that MAHA was a real movement. I think MAGA was created to co-opt the conservative Tea Party, America First movement. I think that MAHA was created as a PSYOP to infiltrate and control the medical freedom movement that rose up out of the dark days and the dystopian days of COVID-19 lockouts and the rollout of the poisoned shots. So from the very beginning, I have been explaining this to this audience. We've been doing this for 12 years. It ain't my first rodeo, and we've seen this done over and over and over. So we're absolutely prepared when the latest PSYOP comes in, as their duplicity and their treachery is exposed. And it's being exposed faster and faster. People are waking up to it faster and faster. And this is why you always see this new crop of influencers, oligarchs, billionaires, and actors come onto the scene to engage in what I believe is a false hope and diffused outrage operation. So this is funded by Elon Musk's America PAC currently. It's the new movement. I think it will also serve as the vessel to absorb angry MAGA Maha defectors and also usher in the global techno-fascism that we've been warning you about for many, many months and years here on the Shannon Joy Show. At the forefront of this movement are characters like the arch technocrat himself. His grandfather was the inventor of technocracy. This is a techno-fascist movement. It is a global movement. It is a godless movement. It is anti-democracy, anti-natural rights, anti-free speech, and anti-humanity in a lot of ways when you look into the transhumanism aspects of the technocracy. Elon Musk is a card-carrying member born into this oligarchical structure through his grandfather. So make no mistake, Elon Musk, he was part of the PayPal mafia. He aligns with Peter Thiel. He has been embraced on the left and on the right, but for all the wrong reasons. This movement, as I mentioned, I think is going to be that vessel. You have Elon Musk. Nicole Shanahan has weighed in on the new political party, the America First Party or the America Party. Also, Mark Cuban, the billionaire from Florida, and Democrats like Andrew Yang. As you know, yesterday, we also reported that Elon Musk is now wooing Congressman Tom Massey with lots of money to fund his next political campaign as Massey takes on full frontal assault from MAGA and the Trump administration because he is pushing back against the big, beautiful bill. MAGA is cracking because of the big, beautiful bill. Make no mistake, right? And they are ready to catch all of those defectors, all of the dissidents, those who are disillusioned now with Maha and MAGA. Well, we have a fresh new party with billions, if not trillions of dollars to underwrite this movement, this fake movement, and they're going to play themselves off as independents. That's what really caught my attention yesterday when I looked into the tweets and I looked into Elon Musk now polling and pushing out all of the signals that they are going to build this party. They are going to try to co-opt the independent movement. The movement that we've built, right? We have been doing this doggedly now, the uniparty, unibrow rhetoric, everything I've been talking about with you all for 12 years, right, is all coming true. And now they're going to embrace that, but they're going to twist it and divert it. And that's what we see happen with these PSYOP movements time and time again, right? There is nothing new under the sun. This is Groundhog Day political hell. I have seen this show one too many times, and we are going to crack that open and discuss it today on the Shannon Joy Show. So we're going to get into that. Also, I have linked you in the show notes today to a few threads, very, very important threads. I am working my way through the Bobby Kennedy Jr. Tucker Carlson interview. I'm listening to it and re-listening to it. It's such an important interview for all of the wrong reasons. It really shows, and there are many instances and examples of the highly sophisticated limited hangout and propaganda, psychological propaganda that has been really a hallmark of recent politics here in the U.S. And so, I at first glance, I listened to the interview and I was like, I have a lot of problems here, a lot of problems there. Talked about that yesterday. But as I've dug in and paid more attention, there are a lot of problems to the extent that I think I'm going to do an entire show on it next week with full sound bites so that we can begin to understand how they trick us and how they deceive us and how they give us false hope and confuse us and make the solutions so complicated that no one can ever really grasp what the solution is. And then they dangle that carrot in front of you month after month after month until the movement and the party has broken apart, and they have gotten away once again with never, ever making good on the promises that they made during an election cycle. And so I think that's going to be very important. But there was one bombshell that I wanted to bring to your attention, and this is linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. This is from a very small Twitter account. I think he only has 283 or so Twitter followers, but the name is Uriel Cohen 13. And I have posted this out on my Twitter feed. This is very important. This is a bombshell that Bobby Kennedy Jr. dropped in that Tucker Carlson interview that no one picked up on, but it's incredibly important. This was his headline, and this is the quote. Secretary Kennedy said in that interview that the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, now run by Marty Makary, is going to accelerate drug approvals for big pharma and likely big tech, because we know that biosurveillance and transhumanism is a major theme of this administration, and it is now weaving its way into HHS. We heard Bobby Kennedy Jr. last week begin to groom the nation for the idea of every American on a wearable, a biosurveilling wearable technological device that will monitor the systems in their body and likely capture them and surveil. Okay, so this is a big problem, right? So RFK Jr. said in this interview that he said that they're going to accelerate. So think Operation Warp Speed, think fast tracking, SAMRNA, with AI. So they're going to accelerate drug approvals with artificial intelligence by skipping, I kid you not, animal trials. Okay, that would de facto. So what they're saying is they are going to use artificial intelligence to skip animal trials to fast track pharmaceutical and likely biomedical devices, bring them to the American public, put them on the market, likely manipulate or coerce Americans into accepting these devices or pharmaceutical products, thus making them de facto human trials. Okay. So if they skip animal trials, they're going straight to the humans, which is exactly what we saw with Operation Warp Speed and the disaster that was the rollout of the COVID-19 shots. They were essentially human trials, skipping all of the pre-trials, all of the animal trials. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is saying in this interview that they are going to expand that exact process. So not only are we going to get a reckoning, justice, another look at what they did to us and why everything went wrong, they are pressing the pedal to the metal. This is what he said in that clip. Here's the quote. Even that system is antiquated. He's talking about animal trials and the system that we have used in the past that we skipped with COVID to bring drugs safely to market. He said this, even that system, this is Bobby Kennedy Jr. in the interview with Tucker Carlson that I don't think anyone has reported yet. Even that system, said Bobby Kennedy, it's antiquated because now we have access to artificial intelligence. We are creating here at HHS an artificial intelligence and AI revolution. Quote, this is what Bobby Kennedy said in that Tucker Carlson interview. He goes on, we are at the cutting edge of AI. We are implementing it on all of our departments. In FDA, quote, we are accelerating drug approvals so you don't need to use primates or even animal models. You can do the drug approvals very quick with artificial intelligence, with AI. Okay? That is a massive statement. That has horrifying ramifications. That is worse. This is not better than what was going on at HHS under the Biden administration. This is not better than what was happening during 2020 under Donald Trump and his administration and Fauci. This is worse. This is taking everything that they have done and making it infinitely worse using AI models and AI decision making. Okay? If you couple this statement with the provision in the big beautiful bill that grants immunity and protection to all AI implementation models, governmental and from private corporations and contractors, that is a feature. Now, it was reported that that provision was removed. I am not celebrating that yet. It is still very confusing as to whether that provision is still in the big beautiful bill. But when you couple what Robert Kennedy Jr. said in this statement on Tucker Carlson with that provision that creates the immunity, the liability protection, the same liability protection that he has fought against concerning pharma for the entirety of his career, you can see that they are making this dramatically worse. Dramatically worse. I would love to see someone acknowledge this within MAHA or the medical freedom movement. This is a big deal. In addition, so this is linked. I'm pretty sure I linked it in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. If I didn't, make sure you're following me on Twitter. My handle is @ShannonJoyRadio. That's @ShannonJoyRadio. We also have an unbelievable thread, okay? An unbelievable thread from Champagne Yoshi, another independent aggregator on the Twit. And it's a mega thread. I have linked that in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show today. I also have pushed it out on my Twitter account. This is going deeper and deeper into Susan Moneras. She is Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s hand-picked candidate to run the CDC. And according to Champagne Yoshi, his handle on Twitter is @Josh Walkos, WALKOS. She is not a doctor, number one. She is not a frontline scientist, number two. She is a biotech insider who has spent 20 years building public-private partnerships between the federal government, big tech, and big pharma. She is pulling all of this together, right? Here's just a snippet of what Champagne Yoshi had to say about Susan Moneras. At BARDA HHS, she helped stand up, and all of this is linked on the mega thread that he provided. At BARDA, which is HHS, she helped stand up Project BioShield, which funneled billions in pharmaceutical countermeasures for theoretical CBRN, that was chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear threats. BARDA, as we know, stands for Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. This is under the purview, I believe, this is at HHS, but a lot of these agencies work hand in hand in tandem with Department of Defense. Project BioShield is the same program that gave us the shady COVID vaccine contracts and the same one that built the pandemic industrial complex, which is still in place today. Okay. Operation Warp Speed in 2020 used BARDA. Again, this is Susan Moneras, RFK's hand-picked head for CDC. She has not been confirmed yet because there was so much blowback, but she has not been replaced. So they're preparing to, on the DL, I think, usher her in. She was the one who helped create the BARDA that actually developed Operation Warp Speed and was its funding hub, deploying over $2 billion to vaccine developers, including Moderna and AstraZeneca. Okay. He goes on, as a senior BARDA official, Moneras was part of the team empowering the system, allocating billions to private firms and navigating accelerated pathways, right? So the early choices enabled rapid COVID contracts, later executed under Operation Warp Speed and Project Next Gen. These are mechanisms that she embodied and championed. In short, according to Josh, Project BioShield and BARDA created a fast track pipeline that handed pharmaceutical companies both millions in contracts and regulatory bypass. Plus, I'll add this, liability protection before any of the full evidence emerged. Under her leadership at BARDA and then later ARPA, which is even more disturbing and terrifying, okay, she became an integral part of that model. The system that Susan Menares built, she is Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s hand-picked choice for the director of CDC. The system that she helped build was weaponized during COVID-19, and those same tools are now back at the CDC. And this is part of Josh's thread. Every bit of this is hyperlinked, so you can check and double check this entire thread. It goes on. As previously mentioned, she started under Obama. By the way, she was groomed for this. She herself was put into a pipeline after she finished medical, I'm pretty sure it was medical school. She came in under the Obama administration, moved into the White House, National Security Council, and the OSP, that is the Office of Science and Technology Policy. Her job under Obama was coordinating pandemic preparedness and building biomedical surveillance tools like telehealth, remote diagnostics, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. She also, and this is where it gets terrifying, this is the crown jewel, says Josh, of her career thus far, her involvement in the Advanced Research Projects Agency for Health, that is ARPA-H. This agency is modeled after DARPA and run like an Intel cutout for the biomedical tech acceleration. The mission of this organization to partner with private industry to rapidly deploy innovations and innovations in relation to health. That is why she is now at HHS, and that's why they're bringing her in. Okay, so the translation on that is the mission is to bypass regulation and ethics to push risky tech and turn a tidy profit in future pandemics or bioterrorist events. Now, juxtapose this with Bobby Kennedy's statement on Tucker Carlson saying they were going to fast track drugs and advancements, skipping animal trials, right? And using AI in order to get these and push these out to the market. And then his goal saying that his mission at HHS is to have every American wearing a wearable, a biosurveillance device in the next 4 years. Houston, we have a problem here. We have a big problem. And this is why I have no patience for the trust the plan, give him time. You're you're a, what do they call me? They call me like one of those agents, a change agent or controlled opposition. That's what I'm getting called now because I am pushing this out. Put those things together. And this is not, oh, poor Bobby, he has a really tough job and the country's just not ready to talk about vaccines. None of that is true. They are distracting you. They are distracting you with false wins, false hope, false movements from what they are really doing. In January of 23, Menares was appointed by Deputy Director of ARPA, where she has overseen the agency's $2 billion portfolio focused on high-risk health technology projects. This has been in the works now, guys, for 2 years. All right? This is just a snippet of the entire thread. The thread is massive. It is massive. I unrolled it on my Twitter site, and it is linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. This is a huge problem. A huge problem. The calls are coming from inside the house. See, this is what makes it so difficult for these movements, real organized grassroots movements, when our people go into the White House or get into these offices, because it absolutely neuters the sensibilities and the necessary tension that we should be feeling. I mean, if Susan Menares was the Biden pick or the Kamala Harris pick, people would be losing their minds. But unfortunately, the majority of the medical freedom movement is completely anesthetized. They are engaged in false hope. Trust the plan, give them time. Another little nugget in the Bobby Kennedy Jr., Tucker Carlson discussion. They are the only studies that they are launching, which they haven't launched yet, but are going to be launched in September of 2024, are involved in looking at autism and vaccines. It's very unclear what those studies are going to look like. Bobby Kennedy Jr. says there's going to be massive transparency. We're going to show you all the data sets, but we don't really know what those studies are going to look at. And he mentioned in that discourse that we won't have the results of those studies until far after September of 2025. So again, moving the ball down the court, right? Dangling the carrot. We're going to get our win at some point. You just have to trust the plan. This is playbook Donald Trump. This is playbook 2017, 18, 19, and 2020. I know this because I witnessed it firsthand and I report on it every single day. In fact, I'm reporting the exact same things that I reported to you 10 years ago. That's why I can spot these things because I am a highly trained observer of these charlatans. And I am so sorry. Please do not kill the messenger in terms of the annihilation of your idols and your heroes. It is not my fault that Donald Trump and Bobby Kennedy are betraying all of their promises, right? You might want to look at the guys themselves, the guys who have power. They are millionaires and billionaires. We're talking about the president of the United States of America and the leader of the Republican Party, one of the most powerful men on the face of the planet, if you believe MAGA and all the Con Inc. charlatans out there. We have Bobby Kennedy Jr., who is the head of HHS. These men have power, right? Yet everyone's mad at me, okay? I'm the one getting shadow banned, censored, pushed back, called a CIA operative, and controlled opposition. You might want to consider, rather than focusing your ire on me, the messenger, who is simply pointing this out on a daily basis, and these are facts. You cannot erase them. All the links are there. Everything is there. Rather than getting mad at me, you might want to think about the guys who are in office, who made the promises, who are getting rich, they're getting powerful, who are doing this to you. Okay? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Mama C 1996. Keep speaking truth to power, Shannon. We've got your back. You are the best. Thank you, Mama C 1996. This is an important thread. I think everyone needs to get very familiar with how they are going to do this because everything is beginning to click into place, especially the Elon Musk America Party PSYOP. Now, we do have, I'm super pumped. I see that we have our guest today, Laura Bartlett, is with us. She has an amazing story, and we are going to empower you in the second half of the Shannon Joy Show, right? What I'm telling you today is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to light a fire under your ass so you stop trusting in people like Trump and RFK to save you and start saving yourself and your family. And that happens by becoming prepared. And Laura is all about preparedness. You guys are going to love this conversation. Speaking of preparedness, I do want to talk about, we have two more things we have to get to. We have to get to Elon Musk and this America Party. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow because we are about 35 minutes into the show. So this is a big deal too. This is a new PSYOP. Nicole Shanahan is involved. We have Mark Cuban is involved, Elon Musk. They're trying to drag poor Tom Massey into this. And I just hope he stays far, 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 far away from this new party PSYOP. But as I've told you guys before, if you wait long enough, they all reveal themselves, right? Everyone always wonders, is this guy controlled opposition? Is that guy controlled opposition? Is this person a change agent? Are they part of the industrial complex? Is this person intelligence, right? I hear this all the time. You shall know them by their fruits. And mark my words, if you wait long enough, maintain your principles, they all show their fruits. They will always reveal it to you. We have seen it time and time again. We're going to do that tomorrow. Okay. I'm calling an audible here. But speaking of preparedness, I do want to talk to you guys about one of the first ways that you can prepare. We want to avoid entering the medical industrial complex. We want to avoid the hospital system at all costs. And that is, one of the ways that you can achieve that is through what I like to call chronic good health. And you know that my partners over at Native Path, they contribute to my chronic good health. I use all of their products. I love the collagen in my coffee. I love the hydration. I am such a fan of the hydration. I use it every single day. And I want to tell you guys today about one of the other products that I don't use as much, but my children absolutely love, and I should start using. It is Native Path Complete Protein. This is 100% grass-fed beef protein. So it's not whey, it's not soy, it is not plant-based. This is your way. As we know, we have to get protein into our diet. Protein is very critical in rebuilding strength, repairing and maintaining muscle mass. It supports a fast metabolism, a lot of the things that begin to slow down as we age. My kids use it because they're athletes and they're always looking for extra sources of lean protein, not the plant stuff, the 100% grass-fed beef protein. The best part about this product that they absolutely love is there is no bloat. As you know, Native Path has the cleanest products. These are the highest quality mix-ins that I've seen on the market. And because of that, there is no bloating and you feel great after you use them. 110 calories per serving, 20 grams of complete clean protein. It's delicious. My kids love the chocolate. They use it in all of their smoothies. We're a smoothie family. I'm going to be sharing some recipes. So make sure you tune in next week. We're going to be sharing our chunky monkey recipe, which is so good. The kids put this protein in their chocolate milk. They use it in the pancakes. They use it in the shakes and the smoothies. They absolutely love it. Zero sugar, okay? Dairy-free, no soy, no gluten. This product is on sale 41% off from our friends over at Native Path. It's an amazing product. You can go to nativepathcompleteprotein.com/joy. That is nativepathcompleteprotein.com/joy. Annie is going to pop that up into the live chat right now so that you guys can learn about this amazing product. But you're going to learn more as we go on through the weeks. It is another one of the greats. We absolutely love it. And you can get that now at 41% off only for the Joy audience and only for a limited time. One more time, that URL, nativepathcompleteprotein.com/joy. Okay, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to bring in our guest. I cannot wait to introduce you all to Laura Bartlett. We're going to learn about how to protect yourself if you enter that medical industrial complex. Keep it tuned right here. We'll be back in a minute. Sat123.com is an amazing company, again, on the theme of chaos and cyber attacks, lockdowns, shutdowns, natural disasters, rogue governments, World War III, right? We cannot predict what is going to happen in the next 10 days, let alone the next 10 months, right? This news cycle moves so fast, and it's why many Americans are uneasy and preparing in a million different ways, whether it's gold and silver to protect your family if there's an economic collapse, to protect your retirement if there's an economic collapse, also getting food and water and those necessities that can support your family if there is a lockdown or a shutdown. And right here, I mean, we're going to get to this in a minute, but Israel is in another lockdown situation right now. So this is why it's so important to just have everything prepared. And the satellite phone store, in addition to having satellite phones, again, if cellular goes down, the 5G, 4G, 3G, the towers go down, there's a cyber attack, all you have is the satellite phone, right? And it works, right? This is a way for you to be in contact with your friends and family to let them know that everything is okay. I have a satellite phone. It gives me an enormous amount of peace of mind, and it is going to work when those towers come down, when they don't. So many people have been blessed because of satellite phones. They've been able to bless their neighbors in natural disasters and emergency situations, something I've talked with Tina Blanco, who is the founder and CEO of Satellite Phone Store, about very often. You could be that one person in your neighborhood that could help people get in touch with loved ones if for some reason everything goes down. They also have generators and solar panels, Faraday products, Bivy sticks. Bivy sticks are amazing. It's a device that you actually use with your cell phone that turns your cell phone into a satellite phone, right? If the towers go down, and it's a little more affordable than a full cell phone package. But Satellite Phone Store always makes those packages affordable for the Joy audience. Right now, free Faraday bulletproof backpack when you sign up for a year with the Satellite Phone Store. So you get the free phone, you get a nice low monthly rate for the service, and also a very high value. I want to say it's worth a couple $100. The Faraday, which is the EMF blocking technology, bulletproof backpack. It's a great thing to send your kids off to college with. I sent one down to my son Jackson. He uses it. And it just gives me some peace of mind there. So sat123.com/joy, sat123.com/joy. The last show of the week before we launch into a holiday week. As you all know, tomorrow we will be off for the Independence Day celebration. I'll also be off on Monday. As you all know, I will be joining Dr. Peter McCullough in Chautauqua, New York, for his very important speech on vaccines, autism, and transgenderism treatments for children. It's going to be a very interesting talk. You can find information in the show notes on the Shannon Joy Show to go to that event. I believe that the tickets are free, but you have to pay to get onto the grounds. But I will be there in support of Dr. McCullough. I love that this is happening in New York State. I love that this is happening at a traditionally Democrat left-leaning gathering that happens every year. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Democrats and liberals take his message. So that's on Monday, the 7th. So we won't have a show on Monday, but we'll be back here on Tuesday, raring to go. As you know, I'm sure there will be lots of news to cover next week. So later in the program, you guys see the headline on today's show. Aaron Day, he is an expert in the technocracy, in the technocrats, crypto, digital money, you name it. We're going to have a big conversation with him today, welcoming him into the Joy Virtual Studio at the bottom of the hour. Trump's final blow to America, the big betrayal bill, the big brother bill. It is not about independence. It is about slavery. Unbelievable. 249 years after Americans declared independence from tyranny, from the tyrannical rule of the British monarchy, we are now surrendering into human slavery to the technocracy, another form of monarchy. It's not democracy. There is no essence of human rights or natural rights. This is absolutely dystopian. And we're going to be discussing this with Aaron today on the Shannon Joy Show. This is what he had to say on Twitter. The Big Brother bill, the BBB, which passed, by the way, with overwhelming Republican support. It will be signed by this president as he signs us into slavery here in the United States of America, ushering in dystopia and technocracy. It is breathtaking to watch. And I have a piece today from Patrick Wood at Technocracy that is absolutely chilling. When you understand what Trump has done to this country in the span of less than 6 months with his alliance with the godless, transhumanist, globalist, fascist technocrats, it will make your blood turn cold. And the fact that they are doing it ceremoniously on the 4th of July is not lost to me. The irony is also chilling. From Aaron Day, the Big Brother bill furthers technocracy and surveillance. Predictably, MAGA and MAHA supporters not appreciating that these investments will be weaponized against them in the future. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act's 135 to 150 billion for police militarization, AI surveillance, and financial monitoring paired with Real ID, Palantir's citizen database, and stablecoins as veiled central banking digital currencies fast tracks a technocratic agenda centralizing control over Americans' lives unlike anything we have seen in human history. And Trump has done this with the fake Doge cost cutting efforts, all of the fake headlines, all of the fake executive orders, the flurry of headlines from the paid propagandists in conservative media, Con Inc. and Bizarro Con, also the left-wing media, have completely shrouded this dystopian plan that is sitting for all to see in this big betrayal bill. From Patrick Wood, happy birthday, America. Here is your present, enslavement. AI.gov will be exclusively run by technocrats to achieve technocratic ends. They are techno-fascists. There is no democracy. There is no separation of powers. There is no transparency. There is no consent of the governed. There is no natural rights enshrined by a constitution. None of that exists in the technocracy. And we're going to explore that before we bring Aaron Day into the Joy Virtual Studio in this first segment. It is tragic that the day before we celebrate our independence, we are being thrust into a new type of 21st century digital slavery by this president. There is nothing to celebrate. We have lost our country. We have lost our constitutional protections, and it is a brave new world. And I don't say that to be hyperbolic. It is absolutely chilling what I have been seeing, what we have been reporting over the past couple weeks. And you all understand this. We are going to have to resist this. We're going to have to fight like hell against the implementation of so many aspects of this dystopian, destructive, tyrannical bill. That's going to be our job over the next 4 years. Are you ready to put your big boy pants on and your big girl pants on and fight back, protect yourself, declare independence from this fake two-party system and psyop after psyop? Let's go, because we can still win. But this is what Patrick Wood had to say. This will be run by technocrats for technocratic ends. There will be no public input or involvement. For everyone who scoffed, politicians, academics, and citizens who have been carping at Patrick Wood for the last 18 years, as I warned you what was coming, will you please get your head on straight now? If these digital maniacs are not stopped, it is game over for freedom and liberty, for sanctity of life and humanness itself. And that was the quote from Patrick Wood over at Technocracy. The only people who can see this are the people who are fully emancipated from the two-party political system. And this is why I have been introducing so many new guests into the Joy Virtual Studio from all different backgrounds. These are people who are independent, who understand the nature of the times that we live in. And let me tell you, the technocracy is at its worst in the United States of America. This piece that I linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show, AI.gov, the digital Leviathan, launching this Independence Day tomorrow. Have you heard about AI.gov? You probably haven't, because they've been keeping it a secret. Well, we know what's going on thanks to the good work of Patrick Wood over at technocracy.news. We're going to look at that in a moment. But first, I do want to thank our sponsors over at Colonial Metals Group. You guys know Colonial Metals Group, unbelievable sponsor of the Shannon Joy Show. I'm working with them right now to set up my own personalized, independent IRA backed by gold and silver. I'm learning all about the process. I cannot believe how fast and easy it was, actually. It took about 30 to 40 minutes. I can't wait to tell you all about my experience, but you have to get your gold and silver strategy in place. These headlines are unbelievable. This is from our friend Todd Sawyer in his latest Substack on Colonial Metals Group. The economic implications behind Costco and Walmart's shocking gold rush. Did you know that quietly last year, Costco began to sell physical gold over the counter to their customers? It has exploded in growth. This is what Todd had to say. America's favorite wholesale megastore, Costco, famous for offering everything you can imagine under the sun, is now marketing gold and selling it to their clientele. In May, Costco tightened purchase restrictions because of the demand, which has exploded. Regular Americans get what is happening. They understand the debt and the deficit, the trillions of dollars in spending, the fact that nothing has changed substantially since this president, Donald Trump, has come into office. This is why it's not just the institutional banks, it's not just foreign government, it's not just the big investors, it's mom and pop now. It is regular Americans. Understand, you are instinctively understanding something is very, very wrong in our markets. And that is why demand is through the roof at Costco. They are now limiting members to one transaction, capped at a maximum of 2 bars per day. In its 2025 first quarter report, the retailer listed gold among its top sales categories. What does that tell you? There's more. Now, Walmart, the other big mega discount store in the US, the world's largest retailer, is joining the gold rush and has begun offering 1-ounce gold bars alongside groceries, electronics, and gardening tools. The question is, why have so many Americans rushed to buy gold? Well, we know the answer. If you're in the Shannon Joy Show audience, you have been preparing for the past year because we've been warning you. We have been looking past the headlines, past the propaganda about Bitcoin and crypto and stable coins and tokens. We've been looking past the headlines that have been fraudulently delivered to conservative audiences by people like Sean Hannity and Mark Levin, who are lying, telling you that the economy is in great shape, that we're entering a golden era. That is absolutely false. And I am so proud that this audience has been prepared. You have been purchasing gold and silver from Colonial Metals Group, backing up your retirement with an individual IRA using our amazing partners at Colonial Metals Group. And there are so many of you who are now prepared. I want to tell every one of you, those of you who haven't done that yet, it is not too late. The vast majority of Americans have not even woken up to this. And we are looking at what I think is potentially the bottom of where gold and silver can go in the near future. Why? Because it's a tale as old as time. When there is political chaos, when there is fiscal chaos, geopolitical chaos, and war, humans have always gone back to gold and silver. People know that the national debt is soaring. They know that the purchasing power of the US dollar is falling fast and inflation is rampant. And this is why people are getting into gold. Please consider going to colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy, colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy today. Do not wait. I know so many of you are waiting. You're holding on. You're thinking, wow, I'm getting in too late. You are not. Okay. This is something that every American needs to look into and needs to consider. colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy, colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy for physical gold and silver, and also to learn about a gold and silver backed IRA. Protect your retirement. You've been saving your entire life. Do not let these profligate spenders, these charlatans in Washington, D.C., steal what you have worked for your entire life. So if you're a retiree, this is something you're going to want to consider. Okay. So back to the news of the day. Again, we're bringing in our good friend, Aaron Day. He is an expert in technocracy, another prophet so to speak, warning people for years about where things are going. He's going to be joining us in just about 10 minutes or so. I do want to alert all of you in the show notes. This was sent to me from my good friend John Gilmore of the Autism Action Network, and also our good friend Michael Kane. Massive victories in New York State. Teachers for Choice and Autism Action Network, John Gilmore and Michael Kane, who you guys have met on the Shannon Joy Show, they have succeeded through grassroots, bottom-up organization and political lobbying in Washington, D.C. in defeating every single horrifying, freedom-crushing vaccine expansion bill, vaccine tyranny bill, medical tyranny bill in New York State. It is an overwhelming victory. I am so proud of them. And we are now pushing the pedal to the metal here in New York with a class action lawsuit. This is for families who were denied medical exemptions by New York State schools. Damages will be sought. This morning, I signed up for this class action lawsuit. As you know, my 3 children had medical exemptions for New York State mandated, CDC recommended vaccines for entrance into the public school system. They were denied their medical exemptions. They were denied a religious exemption, multiple exemptions, and they were denied education. My boys were kicked out of school for a full week in 2023 as we fought like hell for them. So I am proud to sign up for this class action lawsuit. I want justice. If you wonder why I am so irritated and I so refuse to let go of this vaccine this vaccine issue and those who are vaccine injured, my boys, my children, my son and daughter were injured by CDC recommended and New York State mandated vaccines when they were just small children. Both had severe neurological adverse injuries from the DTaP polio. And because of that, I have obtained multiple medical exemptions. New York State denied those. So we are still suffering here in New York State. And I don't need to go further into what my family has gone through as a result of this, but I can tell you it's one of the most harrowing, horrifying things I have ever experienced in my entire life. And I'll get choked up even talking about it. I was talking to John Gilmore about it this morning, and so vicious, so evil, so fascistic. New York State is unlike any place in the entire world with their mandated vaccine policies. There is a link. If you live in New York State, if your child was denied their medical exemptions, if your child was denied an education, if you have damages, if you have suffered as a result of these policies, I want you to click on that link. You can fill out the form and see if you can join this class action lawsuit. We're still going for justice in New York State. I don't care what they're doing. I don't care how often they betray us in Washington, D.C., this decrepit 2-party political system. They're all liars, charlatans, tyrants. They're all in it for money or power. They don't care about people. They don't care how many children are dead because of their CDC policies, even this administration. And you know what? That might be disturbing, and it might, we might feel betrayed by that. But as you guys know, on this show, we never fear and we never, ever give up. I don't care how many times we lose. I don't care how many times we try to fight for justice and they shoot us down. You know that I'm going to get back up. We're going to get back up, and we're going to fight like hell until we achieve our liberty, because I have children and they need liberty. And so I'll never stop. Ever, ever, ever. New York State is the belly of the beast, MAV 2022. I agree with you. So this piece from Patrick Wood over at Technocracy is one of the best I have seen. It is an overview of what the technocracy is and what is happening tomorrow as Donald Trump ushers in AI.gov. This is so chilling. And Aaron Day is with us. I'm going to go over this. I'm going to try to get through this in about 5 minutes. We're going to go to break, and then we're going to bring Aaron in for the rest of this show. But I want to get through just the highlights of this piece. Everyone needs to click on this piece, read it twice, and then send it to everyone you know. You need to know what is coming, what is being ushered in by this president as he hands this nation over to techno fascists. There is no other way to describe Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Silicon Valley tech bros, and all of the technocrats who are surrounding this president. He is literally selling our nation, our constitution, our founding, our independent to these just absolutely terrifying characters. So this is what the title of the piece is: AI.gov, the digital Leviathan launching this Independence Day. In addition to what Aaron Day has so brilliantly named the Big Brother Bill, the Big Betrayal Bill, the BBB, they are also ushering in, and they tried to hide this, AI.gov. This is what was reported by technocracy.info. Beautiful souls, we stand at the precipice of the most dangerous transformation in American governance since the founding of our republic. While you have been distracted by the theater of partisan politics, a far more sinister revolution has been quietly orchestrating itself in the shadows of Silicon Valley boardrooms and federal bureaucracies. On July 4th, 2025, tomorrow, the Trump administration will launch AI.gov, a centralized artificial intelligence command center that represents nothing less than the digitization of tyranny. This isn't hyperbole or conspiracy theory. This is documented fact, leaked from government repositories and confirmed by multiple sources. What you're about to learn will fundamentally change how you understand the battle for human agency, for human freedom, for natural rights in the 21st century. The veil of secrecy surrounding AI.gov was torn away when researchers at 404 Media discovered a publicly accessible GitHub repository containing the project's complete blueprint. Before government officials could slam the door shut, the entire architecture of America's technocratic, techno-fascist future had been exposed to public scrutiny. AI is not just another government website. AI.gov is not just another government website. It is a unified platform designed to give federal agencies unprecedented power to monitor, analyze, and control every aspect of digital life within government operations, with the infrastructure already in place to extend far beyond. The platform consists of components, primary components, three of them, put together to form what they call the Trinity of Technocratic Control. The first is the AI chatbot assistant, which we'll go into with Aaron Day in just a moment. The second is the Unified API Framework. And the third is, hold on, let me find it, the console, the Panopticon dashboard. This is the most chilling component. Console provides real-time monitoring of AI usage across every government agency. It tracks which tools the federal employees are using, analyzes their performance, and enables managers to optimize resource allocation. In plain English, comprehensive workplace surveillance disguised as management analytics throughout every aspect of the US government, which includes all of your information as well. Meet your new overlords, guys. They are contracting with unelected, right, unaccountable, technocratic oligarchs. Okay, this is your new government. So we're going to get into this piece. The thing I also really like about this piece from Patrick Wood, and actually the author of the piece is Courtney Turner, and it was shared via her Substack. So check out Courtney Turner. This is a really good piece. But it also juxtaposes, or it scrutinizes, technocracy, which is techno-fascism, right next to the Constitution and what it is to be a constitutional republic. So they look at the basis of authority, decision-making processes, the role of the individual and protections of individual rights, accountability of government organizations and government bureaucracies at every level, local, statewide, and at the federal level, and also the philosophy of governance. And when you realize how bad this ideology is, the fascist ideology of technocracy is, you will understand what Donald Trump has done to this country and the Republicans and the Democrats, Biden as well. But they're locking in under Trump. Isn't that ironic? You guys are amazing. Annie, thank you for producing the Shannon Joy Show this week and every week. Thank you guys for all of your support. Thank you to our sponsors, Colonial Metals Group, the Satellite Phone Store, sat123.com, sat123.com, Native Path, and of course, Dom Polano, PCM and Associates. PCMPolano.com is his website. He's my personal financial advisor. And if you want a financial advisor that you can trust, that shares your values, please check out Dom. He's offering his services up to everyone in the country. So you guys are such a blessing to me. I hope that you have a wonderful Independence Day. Let's never, ever, ever, ever give up. Independence, our natural rights, our freedoms, our liberty. It is so precious, more precious than gold, more precious than silver, any amount of Bitcoin or crypto or any type of dollars. Let's fight for it, America. And you can know when we come back next week, we're going to continue this fight right here on the Shannon Joy Show. Happy Independence Day.